Welcome to Bridges to Alignment with Britt Bridges, Wellness Reimagined. This is a safe, transformative space where we explore energy healing, natural wellness, and the connection between mind, body, and soul. Through light, sound, and intention, you'll discover practical ways to align your energy, heal from within, and reconnect with your deepest self. This is your bridge to healing. This is your bridge to alignment.
Welcome to Bridges to Alignment, Wellness Reimagined. I am your host, Britt Bridges. So happy to have you here today. I'm so grateful for your energy, and I know that that is a form of currency. So thank you so much for being here, and know that my gratitude is reciprocated to you all. If you're new to the podcast, drop us a line. Tell us where you're from, tuning in from. Love having newbies here on the podcast. And of course, to the returning viewers, so grateful. Thank you so much for being here and spreading the word and sharing this information on this planet, because we are talking about some really important stuff, my friends. We have a very safe container here for us to come and talk about all things energy healing, because the simple fact is that we are energy. And I always like to bring my little illustration every episode just to show you our energy bodies. And I always say too, if you have some time today and you want to take the woo-woo out of all this energy stuff we're talking about, Google quantum physics, the basic principles of quantum physics. There you will find all information. And so essentially we are energy beings. This is showing right here the energy that is in our field, the magnetic field around our bodies. We have a positive and negative to us, just like a battery. Think of us as really big batteries. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, is some energy healing modalities. And we have an exciting episode planned. We have Judy Buchanan in the house today, and she is a resiliency coach, Reiki Master, teacher, trauma-informed yoga instructor, and just a wealth of knowledge and information. And it's a pleasure to have her here today. And really the theme, what we're going to talk about, is transforming struggles into triumph. Because, believe it or not, you have the power to do that. And it's just beyond our limited beliefs. So we're going to talk about that today, as how we can go beyond our limited beliefs and really deconstruct old programs and reconstruct new programs. So I'm so excited to have Judy here. And, we're going to do something a little different, because normally I like to usher in the show with some nervous system regulation activities. And instead, we're going to have Judy lead that today, because she comes with just a heavy toolbox of energy healing modalities that are really going to be great to add to your toolbox. So we're going to do that. But before we do that, I always like to say, my might hear some information today that's new to you. And that's great, right? Because that's how we expand. That's how we raise in consciousness, is by allowing new information to be introduced to us. And so I welcome you to use your discernment today. Take what resonates, leave the rest. And I do ask you, if there is something that comes up on this program, that you maybe make a mental note of it and then go into prayer or meditation later and ask the divine within you, ask higher power, go into your heart and ask, is this in alignment with me? Is this something that is my truth? Because sometimes when new stuff comes our way, we might dismiss it quickly because that's not a program that we've been operating on. But it's important that we really go inward and seek to find if that is our truth. So I invite you to do that really with anything, any content that you come across, that you don't just believe it immediately when you hear it, but you instead go inward and get in touch with your inner self, your inner divinity, to determine if that is your truth or not. All right. So without further ado, we have Judy here. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Such a pleasure to be here.
Yes, we love having guests in the house. And now, are you from Frederick? I know you're a Frederick local, right?
I am. I live actually in Brunswick, but I've been in the Frederick area for about 20 years. I was all over the world, and I originate from Rhinebeck, New York.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. That's important to also mention. And I'm imagining the reason you've been all around the world is because you're a retired Army Colonel, Lieutenant. You'll have to correct me.
Yes. I am a retired Lieutenant Colonel, Medical Service Corps officer from the United States Army. And that is what took us, my family and I, around the world to several different countries to live and also for deployment. So I've seen quite a bit through my time.
Wow, fascinating. I can only imagine how all those experiences have really just added to your encyclopedia within you, right? Of all those different experiences and really seeing like everything, seeing different cultures, and then being in the military, because we know what the military comes with.
Yes, it was quite an adventure, to say the least. And I did get to see a lot of cultures and also experience a lot of physical struggles, which is what we'll talk about a little bit later in the podcast on how I came into these practices. But it was a good career. I'm very proud of the work that I did. And my husband was also in the military. He was a Army officer as well. He deployed as well to Operation Iraqi Freedom. And so the whole family was part of the Army Medical Department and the Signal Corps, which he was a part of too. So it was a full career and I really enjoyed it. And it comes with challenges as well. So both sides of the coin, the yin and the yang.
There you go, right? The yin and the yang, the dark and the light. Mm-hmm. We must have those polarities, and those are our greatest teachers.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, do you want to go ahead and get us started with a technique to get our nervous system open to receiving? That's what I say, is to, when we regulate the nervous system, it really allows us to get into that feminine energy and to receive the information that's coming to us.
Wonderful. So the technique that I want to use is an extended exhale with a focus on your heart. And some people call this mother breath. It's a breath that I also found in Heart Math, which is a nonprofit that's been studying the heart for more than 20 years. So when you exhale longer than your inhale, you're starting to slow your nervous system down. When you take longer inhales, you start to activate your nervous system. So anytime you want to slow your nervous system down, just take a little bit longer exhale than your inhale. The other part of this is inviting you to connect with your heart. Now, your heart is 60 times greater than any other energy system in your body physiologically, meaning that your heart energy emanates from your body about 3 feet. And you can expand it or contract it. And so the heart is a really powerful place to focus your attention. And as many of you know, where you focus, energy flows. So when you amplify the energy within your heart, you're emanating that not just within your own body, but you're emanating out at least 3 feet and beyond your body. So this technique is inviting you to first be in a place that feels very comfortable for you. And if you can, place one or both hands across your heart. So either one hand or both hands across your heart with a focus towards your heart. Now, if it feels comfortable for you wherever you're at, if you would like, you can either close your eyes, or if you need to stay alert and awake, you could defocus your eyes. However, if you're driving, stay focused. Okay.
Yes,
you can still
open,
right. You can still do this technique by focusing on your heart and slowing your exhale and extending your exhale. So as we begin, we'll just take a nice inhale through the nose and then maybe out, exhale through the mouth. And you can choose to either breathe through your nose or your mouth, depending on what's happening for you. Ideally through your nose. So as you inhale nice and gently, you're expanding your belly. And then as you exhale, see if you can go a little bit longer. So as an example, it would be maybe to a count of 4 on your inhale and to a count of 6 on your exhale. And as you continue with this process of longer exhales, flow with that easily, we can bring our attention to our heart, invoke perhaps the emotion of peace, a sense of openness, a sense of connection with one another as we are connecting right now through this podcast. Britt and I are focused on loving energy, supportive energy. Just continue with that process for a few more breaths, longer exhales than inhales, sensing into your heart and feeling that sense of peace, calm, openness, connectedness. Feeling the moment, being present in this now moment. Whenever it feels right for you, you can go ahead and release your hands and begin to open your eyes and come back into the present moment to start to receive the energy, the connectedness, and the information that we provide to you today.
That was beautiful. I feel so calm and at peace.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
And if any of you guys saw colors when you had your eyes closed, I saw just beautiful emerald green swirling around my body, around my energy field. Just immersed in that, immersed in nature, very connected to Mother Gaia at that moment.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. And just to add on to that technique, you could do that for a longer period of time. And one of the other things that could be nice to do, since we were just doing this for a short period of time, is you can find a place in your mind that feels very comforting and supportive. So just like you said, maybe there's a place that you go to for meditation to feel centered or grounded. That could come to mind, or a new place that you create in the moment that feels very aligned, very positive, very uplifted. And you can switch it up. But the power of the heart, when you put your hand on your heart, you're making this electromagnetic connection, a circuit, and you're amplifying that energy. As I said, it's already the greatest energy that you have in your body, but through the energy that comes through your hands, you're then making that circuit and amplifying that connection with self as well.
I love that.
Okay.
And that place you say to go to find, when you meditate or to find peace and tranquility, I call that your personal sanctuary.
Love it.
Yes. So it's like your exclusive place that nobody else can go.
Right.
And yeah, it's a beautiful place to go to do this type of work. So thank you. Thank you so much for that. I feel ready to receive this information that's incoming.
Beautiful.
Yes. And so I first want to say that I met Judy at a retreat that she was holding here locally in Frederick. She also holds retreats on location at different energetic vortexes, I would call it, throughout the planet. So if anything is resonating with you today, we're going to drop her website in the description so that way you have it. But her retreats are absolutely amazing. I specifically remember I had a release. I did a lot of inner child healing, completely unplanned. It was just all intuitively led and guided, and I was just allowing whatever was to flow in, but it truly changed my life. And so that is why I knew that Judy had to be on this program, because
thank you.
Very, very powerful energy worker. And and she also authored a book alongside with some other energy workers as well. Awakening Stories. Can you tell us a little bit more about
Sure.
what is in this book?
Awakening Stories actually has a variety of people from all over the country. There's a couple of people from Europe and one person from Canada. Ages range from 20 all the way up to late 70s. There are 3 doctors, 4 military members, people of all walks of life. And the intent of the book, when we came together to write this with my friends Allison and Will Brown, was to bring our unique stories forward about how we came to awaken into the understanding that we're more than just the physical existence. And there's a lot of vulnerability in there. There's people of different types of modalities. As I said, there's a couple of physicians in there. So truly, there's a reverend in there as well. All walks of life describing their transformation that happened to awaken to this understanding that there's more to life than what we can see. And whatever your spiritual tradition is, or even if you don't have a spiritual tradition, it's a book that I think a lot of people will be able to see themselves in, to know that they're walking the journey as well. And there's parts of it that I'm sure would resonate with each one of us. My particular chapter is I See You, which starts out with me looking in the mirror at 7 years old, seeing my soul through my eyes. And then I tell the rest of the story.
I just got chills. I was envisioning that moment for 7 years old. And in fact, that's a great exercise as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is doing that mirror reflection type of activity where you're speaking beautiful things into yourself.
Absolutely. It's a very, very supportive connection with the self, because when you look deeply into your eyes, you truly are seeing yourself. Every day we walk around, we look outside of ourselves and we can't really see ourselves. We can see ourselves in a mirror, but in general, we're all just looking outside of our own internal world. So to focus on that with intention can be extremely powerful in saying very kind and loving things, because I do think that one of the challenges that humans have as a whole is learning to love themselves, or remembering to love themselves, because there's a lot of programming that comes at different points and experiences that come at different points that pull us away from understanding that we are beautiful sparks that came from the universe, from God, and each one of us is really important. We're each has a unique frequency. So we're like a note in an orchestra of life, and every note is really important. So no matter who you are, or where you're from, or where you're going, you're important to the collective human race and all that we are walking through together.
Beautiful. Yes. And what's interesting is, as you were saying that, you had mentioned that we're looking out, when we're looking out, we're seeing what's in our external. What are your thoughts on that external, though, really reflecting to you what's in your internal?
Yeah. So, I think that we are all co-creating this reality together, and where our mind goes, energy flows. And so, if you're having very negative thoughts, often the reality that we will see will be quite negative. And then it'll be reinforced. And so also, if you're having a very uplifted and positive day, you may see all of the good that's happening around you. So I think that when we're looking outside of us, what's reflecting back to us often can relate to the state that we're in. However, there is a lot that's happening all the time around us that is not a direct reflection of where we are necessarily. And so it is being aware of where our thoughts are, I think, is really important. But there is chaos in the world, and there is light and dark. And so I think we see more of that in our relationships and in our intimate connections, where we get some of the reflection of who we are from the people and how we're interacting with them. But that's a very complex concept. Yeah. And I don't want anyone walking away from here being like, what are you telling me? That whole world is reflecting back to me, my internal world. No, there are components that aren't necessarily a part of you, but it is your mindset. What we think plays into how we perceive reality. Yeah. And that's more of the thing that I think when we're looking outside of ourselves. So the more that we know our internal landscape, it is easier to discern what aligns with us and what doesn't align with us. And that's the big challenge, I think.
Yeah, exactly. That was beautifully stated. Thank you. And also, kind of piggybacking off what you said, I think it's important that we know that there's self and then there's the collective, right? Mm-hmm. So the collective is the whole planet and every being on it, and the energy that, is part of all of our thoughts and emotions and things that, we don't particularly have control over that. However, we do have control of our own little nucleuses, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
yes.
Like our personal environments that we're living in every day. So
yeah, we get to choose that a little bit more. Children are a little more challenged with that, but as adults, we definitely get to choose the environments and make choices as to where we want to be and how we want to go.
Exactly. All right. So we're going to take a quick pause and hear from some of our local sponsors, and we'll be right back to deep dive more into this topic.
When you care deeply about Frederick County, you want your generosity to make a meaningful impact. The Community Foundation provides trusted leadership and guidance to connect people who care with the causes they care about, supporting local students, nonprofits, and community needs. Together, we're creating enduring impact and making more possible across Frederick County. Visit frederickcountygives.org.
Sponsored by Maryland Lottery. Tons of ways to win. Hot scratch-offs like Big Money, where a $5 ticket could net you $50,000, or the $2 Monopoly ticket with a top prize of $10,000. Go to mdlottery.com for all the details. Plus, you can download the app and scan your tickets to see if you're a winner. Must be 18 to play. Please play responsibly.
All right, welcome back. And so I have a variety of energy practitioners on the platform here, and everybody has interesting perspective on energy and how it works. And I know that that's such a broad word topic. But I am curious, just if you can share with us, how you see energy, how you see it affecting us, and just maybe offer a few ways that folks can work with that energy daily in their own personal lives to improve their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Reflecting back to what you said, that our bodies are batteries. And so our energy can go up and our energy can go down. And there's a lot of things affecting our level of energy, to include past experiences. We know from a variety of different studies and in psychology that energy exists from early in memories of experiences exist in your body as early as in the womb. So our body starts to, quote unquote, remember our experiences, whether they're remembered in the prefrontal cortex or the mind, is totally different than whether your body remembers. So I have done experiences that have brought me back into the womb because, as you'll read in my chapter, I'm adopted. But what I want to get across here is that part of our energy field includes our experiences in this current timeline of existence, and the issues live in the tissues.
I love that.
I did not coin that. If we read about somatics and energy work with the body, that is more of a term that came through, I believe it was van der Kolk, who wrote The Issues Live in the Tissues. And so whenever we want to do any form of healing, it's connecting to our bodies, because our bodies have the batteries within them and the memories within them of those experiences. And those memories are formed by biochemistry that's released when we have an experience. And so that in and of itself is a component that we can talk about in relationship to energy work. So often when people are doing forms of Reiki, or they're doing acupuncture, or they're doing yoga, or any type of somatic, soma meaning body, somatic work, the idea there is to move the energy associated with those previous experiences. Now, we don't necessarily need to remember those experiences. The idea is just to allow energy that's charged in our body in relationship to past experience to transmute into something of peace or relaxation or support. So what I try to tell people is that, well, this is physics. Physics says that energy is not created nor destroyed. It simply transforms. Mm-hmm. So if we think of energy in that way, when we think about a previous experience, the body may be still holding on to the energy associated with that previous experience. And when we come into safe states within our body, mind, and spirit, our nervous system then allows for an opening to occur. And then we can start to transform that previous energy or charge of that experience into something of peace or relaxation or support or health or well-being. So I can give you several examples in my life, and that's what I actually talk with the police officers that I work with. We haven't mentioned that yet, but I give those examples of what happened in my life and how energy can be transformed so that we can live at greater states of resilience, greater states of regulation within our nervous system, and greater states of peace. So I'll give a quick example. I used to walk my black lab at like 6:30 in the morning every day with my girlfriend. She had a dog too. And one day while we were walking, 2 German Shepherds had gotten out and they charged us and pinned us up against a garage door. And my dog, my black lab, was in between the 2 German Shepherds and myself, but my nervous system went into full flight, fight, freeze. Now, I froze in that moment, and then I started screaming for help. And then I realized, oh, they're not going to bite me. So I started to walk out of that scenario. So I was not physically injured, and I did get out of that scenario. However, my body had gone into fight, flight, or freeze, right? So then months go by, and I'm walking my dog in the morning, and all of a sudden I hear a dog bark in the distance, and my body goes back into that same fight, flight, freeze mechanism. For me, it was my stomach started to have butterflies. I started to get sweaty and hot. My chest started to tighten down. And in that moment, because of my study and the work that I've been doing in the field of energy and psychology for a while, I realized, oh, I have post-traumatic stress related to that experience. So if you have those types of things happen where your body is responding as if you're back in a scenario that happened before for you, but yet it's not actually happening in that moment, that would be considered a post-traumatic stress response, which, by the way, is normal. Okay. It's very normal.
Yes, we all experience that.
Absolutely. And that normal response to an overwhelming experience can then become an issue living in your tissue that then influences our lives. So there are many different ways to transform that energy. And I went and got help, but you do need to work with somebody that can help you transform that energy, whether it's in a trauma-informed yoga class, or you're doing massage work or energy work or Reiki or psychology. There's a lot of different ways. But what I want you to understand is that energy can be transformed. Now, do I remember the experience? Absolutely. The experience hasn't left my mind. However, now when I walk a dog, if I'm holding the dog with the leash and a dog barks in the distance, my body doesn't respond in the same way that it did before. So we transform the energy of the previous experience, the stress response that happened in my body, and allowed the energy to be expressed, acknowledged, present, so that I could come to levels of peace.
Your body felt safe.
It did. My body, in relationship to the practitioner that I was working with, felt very safe. So that's the other recommendation that I have. It's not everybody is for everyone, right? Mm-hmm. So you may try some different modalities, and maybe you like the modality, but maybe it didn't work very well for you. That could have been just because of the energy that you have in co-creating with the practitioner that you're working with. So my job as an energy alchemist, I'll say, or a Reiki practitioner or a yoga instructor, is to hold a container of safety for your nervous system. So what I do is I come into my own safety first to start to co-regulate with you, and I hold the space, and then we can work through whatever needs to be worked through energetically in that moment. But I want you just to understand that whatever energy you've experienced, whatever your experiences have been in the past, whether they're your personal experience or whether it's coming through your DNA, because information moves through family histories and it moves within your DNA, which is the blueprint for all of your cellular structure. And your DNA, that blueprint, changes based upon environmental influences. So when you go to work on yourself and you work on healing you, you're actually changing the DNA. And in that change, your new cellular structure that's being produced is a little bit different. So as we watch people change physically, they can also change mentally and emotionally over time, based upon environmental factors, experiences. And the experiences that I would encourage you to go have are ones that bring you into deep states of relaxation, where you can do your self-healing, because that's the gift you can give to everybody else around you. We can't change other people. We can maybe give advice, but we're not going to make the decision. The other person is always going to make the decision. So we really don't have any control over everybody else. The only person we have control of is ourselves. So when we change ourselves and we heal the things that have been impacting us, we change our energy field. Remember, I said that it emanates at least 3 feet from our body. You showed the energy body on the screen, which is the toroidal field that comes from your heart, actually. It moves up and around your body. And so when we change that energy field, what other people feel from us is different as well. Because you're always emanating energy, whether you like it or not. It's part of our biology. It's part of how we operate in the world. So when you heal you, that's why all the teachers say, go within, focus on you, transform. So when you heal the energy inside of yourself, you're actually gifting to others because you're changing your DNA, you're changing your energy signature. So if you have children or people that you're connected to, you're actually assisting them as well. Because we haven't talked about too much about the quantum field, but we're all connected.
I was going there.
Yeah. We're all connected through what science in the early 1900s brought forth as quantum physics. And before that, there was Newtonian physics, which said that everything was separate. But since the early 1900s, we're really starting to understand and have brought forth quantum physics. And that's why we have things like quantum computing now and headsets that can like read your thoughts and things of that nature. Telepathy, there's the podcast that's all telepathy tapes. So we're understanding our interconnectedness from an energetic perspective. And that's why I say when you work on you, you're helping others around you because the energy that you're emanating is more balanced, it's more supported, it's more nurturing, and you can respond versus react, right? When we're in a dysregulated state in our nervous system, it's much more difficult to respond from a place of centeredness, connectedness, groundedness than to react. Now, believe you me, I go into react as well, and there's no perfection out there. But I will encourage you to look at how over time you can have greater levels and more lengthy times of peace and resilience and the ability to respond.
And I have a little exercise when we do have, because we're human, right?
Yeah.
We're still human.
Yeah.
And so when those moments do occur is to get your little journal out and write down your triggers and then go into meditation or prayer and ask for clarity and revelation on why those triggers are occurring. And I'm telling you, that is a really great lesson in self and understanding why you're having those reactions.
Which is beautiful. And I'll just add a caveat to that. Just like we did the breath work earlier, when you set an intention, that is the power that you have within you to start to transform. So what I invite clients to do is if they're starting to feel emotions using their breath, they can inhale restorative energy, exhale whatever they're feeling in the moment. So let's say maybe anger, and we want to diffuse some anger. So we take a nice deep inhale and we exhale anger, frustration, irritation, maybe even rage. And you do that several times and you'll start to shift the energy in your body. So all emotions.
Ooh, I like that one.
Do you like that one? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's often what I do when I'm working with one-on-one clients is I'm an empath, like many of you out there. I feel a lot from other people. And so if I feel a particular emotion or if a belief system is coming up, we'll just work with it together, inhaling restorative energy, exhaling whatever it is, a belief or emotion. And we'll do that several times to start to tell the body, mind, and spirit, it's okay. We can transform this energy in this moment.
I love that.
Good.
Well, and you know what I think is neat about the two of us is we're really heavy on the educational part of it.
Yeah.
So we want to help folks to heal, but we're not the healers. We're here to help you remember that you are the healer. We're here to give you tools and teach you how to raise your frequency, how to reach a higher level of emotional intelligence, how to reach a higher level of consciousness. So then you can do all of this at your home, that you're not reliant on us forever, right? At least that's my personal goal.
Yeah, mine too. Mine's all about empowerment. I want to teach you how to fish. I'm not fishing for you.
Exactly. Teach a man to fish. He'll fish for life.
Right. Exactly. Yes. But we do this in co-creation and co-collaboration. And I know for myself and my own healing journey, that I've been on for more than a decade now, at least in all realms holistic, is that for me, it's important to have a co-collaborator, a practitioner that's also holding the space, because that allows me then to go into deeper states within myself in a way that I feel very safe doing so. If I'm also having to hold the space for myself, it's more of a challenge, at least for me, to transform the energy. So that co-collaboration with another human that's loving and supportive and holding the space is what I've needed to help to transform my nervous system over time and release some of these energies that have impacted me.
I agree with that. And you know what I call that? I call those blinders.
Oh, nice.
We have kind of like these self blinders, and we can do a lot of our healing on our own once we have the right tools and, knowledge and know where to source it from inside. But there's still the blinders that we get. So it's really good to have that other person, practitioner, whoever it is for you, to hold that space and help you to go, like you said, to those deeper levels to reveal the blinders.
Exactly. Yeah. Like we talked about earlier, we're seeing just from inside ourselves outward. So it's hard for us to even observe ourselves, right? So sometimes it's nice to have that outside observer to feel in or notice or give insight into what we're observing. It's kind of like, I always use the analogy, you ask the fish, how's the water? And the fish is like, what water? Yeah. I don't even know it's there.
This is my existence.
This is my existence. This is who I am. So it's nice to have an observer, like you're saying, those blinders to be somewhat taken off in that person that's outside of you can give you insight into what they're picking up on for you to have a better understanding of what you're experiencing.
Yeah, I love it. And I want to talk more about your retreats and what inspired you to do the retreats. I know you have a really exciting one that I have on my calendar, just, manifesting to be present it's at Mount Shasta next summer, 2027. Yeah. Tell us more about your retreats.
Well, so as you mentioned earlier, I'll bring it back to the one-day retreats and then come into the travel retreats. So my friend Mona and I, at a location in Braddock Heights, Maryland, have been doing women's retreats for more than 3 years. She's been doing them much longer, but we came together about 3 years ago, and we offer one-day women retreats in this beautiful setting at her place in Braddock Heights. And we also offer workshops, which are more themed. The workshops are more intentional on education. If you come to a retreat, you just come, you show up, we feed you, you relax, you enjoy. And those have themes too. And we'll always do some sort of craft associated with that. The travel retreats, I love to travel. That's one of the reasons I think that the Army was a good fit for me. I've been to more than 31 countries at this point in my life, and I really enjoy going to different places on the earth. And as we talked off camera, I believe that we're called to different places on the earth at different times because our energy field has a certain resonance. So we may be gifting to the earth as well as the earth may be gifting to us in those experiences. So last year, I decided to start putting travel retreats together. And I took a group of women to Sedona, Arizona, which is known for its vortexes. And a vortex is a concentrated energy on the earth. The earth is living. And so different places on the earth have different vibrations and energy, just like we have different vibrations and energy throughout our bodies. In the yogic tradition, the wheels of energy in our body are called chakras. But we also have what's called nadis in the yogic tradition, or in the Chinese medicine tradition, there are meridian pathways, which are flows of energy moving through the body. So just like we are very electromagnetic. So is Mother Earth. And we can go to different places on the earth and receive from her as well as gift to her. In fact, your picture of the tortoreal field is a mirror of what the earth's field is. So our heart mirrors the earth's energy field. So this trip that we did to Sedona was fabulous. And we even had a woman who came with plantar fasciitis, which means she had pain in her heels. And we did different energetic exercises on the different vortices. We connected with each other as a community, and we provided healing to one another and support to one another. And she left without plantar fasciitis. So
incredible.
It is incredible, right? And I don't take credit for that. That's all her doing. But being in the right place with the people that are supportive, healing can occur, right? So this past month in July of 2026, I went to Mount Shasta again, and Mount Shasta is in Northern California, and it's known to be the root energy fields of the earth. So just like I was talking about the yogic tradition, there are 7 primary chakras or wheels of energy in our body. The earth also has energy centers as well. And so the Mount Shasta is a very grounding, connected place. And I can attest to that, having been to many different places on the earth, being an empath, that when I went there, I felt home. So after last year's experiences, which were very magical and mystical, I was like, I need to go back. And so I went back again this year. And I was a participant in a retreat there this year, and also scoped out to be able to bring people back with me next year. So in 2027, the 8th through the 15th of July, I am going back to Mount Shasta. And what I'll guide you to is all of the energy, high energy points, the vortexes. There's actually a portal, but also just being in nature and connecting with the mountain itself is really gorgeous. The town of Mount Shasta has a lot of spiritual and crystal shops and things of that nature. I personally had really powerful experiences, and I know the people there now. And so I want to bring people back to have the similar powerful experiences that I had. So I started planning to do these travel retreats because I'm going to places and experiencing things. And then I'm like, come back with me. Let's do this together. It's so much fun.
Because you leave from these retreats transformed.
Totally. And I've personally experienced, besides facilitating retreats, I go on several retreats. I've done veteran women's retreats, yoga retreats, travel retreats, so that I have a basis of knowing how to facilitate for others. But it is truly transformative. Like I would never offer anything to somebody else that I haven't personally done. Right. So
exactly.
If you want to jump out of airplanes, I've done that. I can offer that to you. but that's my point.
Yeah. And, I can't vouch for a travel retreat yet, but I see it in my third eye. It's going to happen. But I can vouch for the local women's retreats that you host. And like I said, I didn't go into this last retreat that I attended thinking that I was going to come out a different person. But, and I remember, I specifically remember, I think it was when you were leading the yoga session and we were doing just some really great hip openers. And, the hip openers are great for the sacral chakra. Because the sacral chakra is where we do hold a lot of trauma, a lot of mother-father wounding. And I just remember feeling that release. And post the yoga, I went and did some grounding, and I let it just really ground deep in Mother Gaia. And I like I said, I just remember I said, wow, I told you that when I left. I go, I'm leaving a different person than who I was when I came.
Right. Yeah, that's so beautiful. And that's really what I want to do on my retreats. And then when I co-collaborate with other facilitators, we want to hold the space for you to do your own healing and raise the vibration in that space, create that loving container for your nervous system to feel connected and safe in order for you to do the healing that needs to happen. And so you just emphasized what we talked about earlier about how the issues live in our tissues, and through somatic practices, whether it's energy work or yoga or grounding or in some other form of co-collaboration, that's when the transformation can really happen for each and every one of us.
Yeah. And that event allowed me to take some of my blinders off.
Yeah.
To expose light on what I wasn't seeing. So,
absolutely.
Grateful for that. And I really want to hear more about what you're doing with the Frederick City Police. Is it City of Frederick Police Department?
It's the Frederick City Police Department. Yep.
Yeah.
I have been working with them since 2018. I was invited in to the academy to assist with nervous system regulation and support. And so since 2018, I've been a part of all of the academy classes. I teach about a 4-hour block of instruction to begin with. And then I come in at different points along the academy to reemphasize and do different exercises with them. So in the beginning class, we're always talking about our nervous system, how it operates, how energy moves in and out and around us, how we can use breath to help us, how we can sleep better, and to just recognize when we come out of regulation.
It's important for them, especially when
Yeah.
they're in active duty.
Yes.
To have those tools.
Yes. And so educating them on their own nervous system takes away some of the unknown that then will happen when they come into stressful situations. So they do get pepper sprayed and they do get tased. And I'm present for those experiences, which for the nervous system is an activation and can be, traumatizing. And so what they've noticed over time is that since I've been there and educating them about their nervous system and how to regulate, they have had less implications and more ability to move through those events without any kind of issues or concerns. So,
wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That you actually are getting that data.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I am present there when they get pepper sprayed and remind them how to regulate with their breath, because it's a very painful experience.
I've experienced.
Okay.
I was a bystander of it, and I tell you, when it's in your eye, and it really affects your nervous system.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And same with the tasing, although fairly short. But then they have the tools to start their career, right? Because they're going to experience trauma. It's part of their career path. So understanding trauma, understanding how trauma can come into their body. And then I also give examples like I just did on how to heal later on. So I go back later in the academy after those events have occurred, and we talk about different ways to help ourselves to heal from these experiences. I also go back and we do a breath work exercise, and we do what's called iRest. iRest is it's a form of Yoga Nidra developed by Richard Miller, and Yoga Nidra is yoga sleep. So we're bringing the nervous system into a deep state of relaxation without going to sleep. So it's non-sleep deep rest. You may have heard that term on Huberman Lab, who's a neuroscientist. But again, this is the space in which the body, mind, and spirit will do its own healing. And so my job, whether it's working one-on-one with somebody or teaching a yoga class or teaching resiliency or holding the space as a retreat, is to facilitate within you the jump starting of your own healing by bringing you into deeper states of calm, peace, and relaxation in a co-regulated way.
Bringing the body to a state of homeostasis.
Yeah. Yeah. And educating, right? Like you like to do too. I think education is the doorway for us to mitigate what for me has been one of the greatest challenges, and that is the fear of the unknown, right?
Oh, yes.
So if we know a little bit about what's going on, then we can be like, oh, I understand this. I can work with this. If we don't really understand what's happening, then what's going on kind of thing, right?
Exactly.
So
exactly.
I think that's really important.
Obviously, I don't want to deep dive down a rabbit hole of like the programs, but you know, the system in place really does benefit from folks being in that constant state of fear. And so it's really, I love my purpose here on this planet to help folks to, like you said, kind of work through that illusion, because fear truly is an illusion. Fear is the opposite of love. And, you know, kind of going back to what you said earlier, that self-love is like the most powerful healing modality when it comes to any healing modality. But it's one of the hardest.
Absolutely.
Because we live in a world where we're taught, you know, to outsource everything and to give all our energy away and to love everybody else but ourselves. And really, you know, loving on ourselves is really the first and foremost focus of our day. So set those intentions.
Yes. Yes, for sure. For sure. Yeah, that's really beautiful. I'm so glad you emphasized that.
Yes. Well, you mentioned it earlier, and I said I got to loop back around and talk about this self-love topic because it seems so simple. I was thinking about this yesterday and I thought, oh yeah, you just got to love yourself. And it's just like, okay, now here you go. But It really is. There's so many layers to that and so many programs we have to deconstruct and then, you know, rebuild and reprogram our subconscious mind, essentially. And I think that you do a lot of that, is to help folks reprogram the subconscious mind.
Yeah. And that is all co-integrated with their body, mind, and spirit, right? And so the subconscious is the underlying programs that are running in the background that help us make decisions. And sometimes those programs that were imparted when we were very young are not in alignment with who we are right now, but we don't even know that they exist until we do something that brings us into more of the subconscious, where maybe the epiphanies can come to the surface. Oh, I have this belief system. Oh, where did this come from? Maybe that was school, or maybe it was an experience with parents. You know, it doesn't really matter where it came from. What matters is that you become aware of whatever is impacting you, and then you make a choice to change it.
Exactly. Yes. All right. So powerful. And we are in alignment in a lot of what you do. It's resonating. And thank you so much for this. Did we want to mention any last few things before we wrap up this episode?
If you're wanting to experience my yoga class, I do teach at Roots and River in Brunswick, so that you can go in physical, or it is recorded through Roots and River Yoga on their website. So you can experience that on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. And other than that, I think we've talked about all the different things, the book and the retreats and the yoga and the resiliency teaching.
Yes.
I do a lot of different things, but my goal, like you, is really just to help you, the audience, to heal, because it's been a journey for me to get to where I am. I had a lot of healing to do in a variety of different ways. And these modalities, all of the different holistic ones that I've experienced, along with shifting my mindset, has been what has transformed me into a greater state of peace at this point in my life.
Yes. And then one other thing you do offer is the PEMF therapy, right?
Yes.
The pulse electromagnetic field therapy. Yeah. Which utilize this therapy, and I stand behind it 100%. It is super effective. Can you tell us more about it real quick?
Sure. Pulse electromagnetic field is the device that we're both using, Britt and I, is it gives off that electrical field along with terahertz. And what the pulse electromagnetic field is it's resonant with the Earth's energy. And so it's 7.83 hertz, and our bodies need that energy because we've been living on the earth as human beings for thousands of years. So even though you may have only been alive 20, 30, 40, 50, 80 years, your DNA has existed for thousands of years, and information has been moved through that DNA to this now moment. And today we are not as connected to Mother Earth because we have shoes that don't allow for that conductive force to move through us. And many of us are in four walls for most of the day. And so we're not receiving that Earth's energy. So this wellness device that was developed is allowing us to receive the Earth's energy in a short period of time, and the terahertz is facilitating that energy moving further into our body. And what they have done studies on is that when we connect to Mother Earth, like if you go out barefoot, like walking on the beach or just barefoot in the grass or holding a tree, that our bodies come very quickly back into balance. But then we get a little bit out of balance because not only are we in the four walls, but in today's day and age, there's all kinds of frequencies moving through the air. Mm-hmm. And so our bodies are being impacted by that. So this wellness device by Ollie Life is one that the intent is to have in every home. So just like everybody has an iPhone, everyone in the family almost has an iPhone. The intent is that every family would have this device that would allow for greater health and wellness, because you can put your feet on it. There's a claw that has red light, TENS. It also has the PEMF in it and warming. So you can use it on like an injury, maybe a hand or a shoulder. There's also a connected device for the face. So for the skin of the face to be supported and nurtured, it helps with inflammation, bone healing, collagen boosting. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then also it helps to move the blood more rapidly in the system. So there's lots of studies. It's got FDA approval. It's got all the approvals, all the approvals for this device.
Science backed for sure.
Right. But for me, my whole family is using it. And I also find that it helps to allow my nervous system to come into greater levels of co-regulation. So if I'm having a really upsetting day, I might just go put my feet on there. And it does warm the feet too. So that'll be really nice. I'm looking forward to that in the cold weather that we get here in Maryland.
Yeah, because it warms your core temperature.
Yes.
Which is really nice.
Yes.
And I mean, just besides promoting amazing sleep and energy I've never experienced before, my 42nd birthday is coming up, and I've never had more energy than I've experienced from this device. And so we'll drop information about that in the description as well. But it has certainly been a pleasure having you today, Judy.
Oh, thank you.
And you really are. You're just a light in this world. And I'm just so thankful you were able to share your story for others to hear and resonate with. And you know where to find her. All of her information's below. And thank you so much again.
Thank you.
You guys, don't forget to meditate. I always close my podcast saying, don't forget to meditate, because it's really important. And I know that Judy teaches that as well. So do I. So if you need support in that area, you know where to find us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Be well.
Bye.
Thanks for joining Britt Bridges on Bridges to Alignment. If this message spoke to you, be sure to like and subscribe for more conversations on energy healing, natural wellness, and living in alignment with your highest self. Bridges to Alignment is proudly part of the Everything Frederick Live podcast network and can be rewatched anytime on the Everything Frederick Live YouTube channel. Until next time, stay grounded, stay open, and keep aligning with the life you were meant to live.
This episode is a proud production of the Everything Frederick Live podcast network. your home for Frederick's best podcasts, streaming daily on YouTube.